35-31, USC beats Colorado. Just an absolutely heartbreaking loss for this CU program.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, the Buffs, give them a lot of credit. I mean, they were criticized heavily this last week, and rightfully so. I mean, just destroyed the last 2 weeks. Steven Montez didn't play well. There was a lot of talk of, is this team going to win another game, which I thought was a knee-jerk reaction, but give them credit. They came back and they played a really good football game for 3.5 quarters or 3 quarters, and played really well most of the night and did everything they needed to. I mean, 3 10-point leads in this game. Yeah. You had to have liked the way the offense played most of this game. I liked the way the defense played most of this game. But when it came down to it, USC, 2 touchdown drives in the fourth quarter. Colorado, I think their last 5 drives were 4 punts, and then the one at the end coming up short. So Colorado didn't get it done when it mattered most, and that's what's heartbreaking. This team, when they finish 4-8 or 5-7, they're going to look back at games like this, games like Arizona, games like Air Force. Mm-hmm. This will be the 3rd straight year that this team probably looks back at games like this and says, "Man, we were this play away from going to a bowl game."
Colorado with 196 rushing yards. Again, they go away from the run in big moments.
Yeah.
There's a lot of criticism out there on Twitter, of course. Everybody thinks they can call plays. The one that I really had an issue with, it was 3rd and 4 at the USC 38-yard line, 6.5 minutes left. You run the ball there, because even if Fontenot or Mangum only gets 2 yards, you put LaVisca in there and you go for it on 4th down, but incomplete pass, it's 4th and 4, they decide to punt, which is another debate unto itself. That was the one play that really stood out to where, gosh, I'm sure if they could go back, they would have maybe done something different there.
Yeah, I agree with you. And, I mean, over the last 2 years, LaVisca in short yardage has that wildcat play. I think there's a couple instances, maybe, but for the most part, 95% of the time, you're good for 3-4 yards or more. Earlier in the game, 4th and 2, he got 17 on it. And it wasn't 4th down yet, but I agree with you. The way they were running the football, Montez was running the football well tonight for the first time all year. You go for it go for the run on 3rd down, and put it in your playmaker's hands. Plus, they threw a pass, and not only do you want to run the ball there, but I want time to come off that clock. There's 7 minutes left in the game, less than 7 minutes left. You're protecting a 3-point lead. Your defense, how long are they going to hold up against that USC offense? You've got to do things to protect that lead. I didn't think they did that at the end.
And they've been pretty conservative in those situations on 4th down. On some level, I can see how you punt if you have a defense that you have a lot of faith in. But I think pretty much everybody assumed USC was probably going to come down, and they, at times CU was a little opportunistic defensively, but yeah. In that situation, I don't know. I personally didn't have faith that they were going to get a stop there. And I know as the staff you want to kind of put some belief in your defense, but I didn't like that call either. It's easy to second guess.
I was okay with the punt just because the defense was pretty solid for most of the game. And really, that next drive, they did make plays that they were almost getting off the field. I mean, they forced a fumble there that, Numo Tufalo he had it right there. I mean, he was
there
so
were
close.
A few opportunities that
Yes.
was almost disastrous for USC in this game.
Yeah, no question. And, CU, I give them credit defensively because I'll disagree with you a little bit on that punt just because I think that the CU defense was playing well enough for the most part that they were creating opportunities like that. They did it again. They just didn't capitalize on it. I mean, you force that fumble. That's what you want to do. Just nobody pounced on it. And they were right there. And so I was okay with the punt, but then go get a stop like you've been doing most of the game, and they weren't able to do that.
13 penalties, again an issue for this team. Montez said, those are drive killers, and we've seen it time and time again. It's almost, you expect it now, unfortunately, with this offense.
Yeah, you do. I mean, false starts again just kill this team, and it's every week now. And, I think it's 4 straight weeks that both tackles have had a false start in the same game. And, it's becoming an issue. It's been an issue the last 3 weeks especially. And, 13 penalties. They had, 14 a couple weeks ago. It's becoming a big issue, and that's one of those things that I think coming into the year we thought that's the type of thing that Mel Tucker will clean up. We didn't expect a Mel Tucker team to be like that. Well, they have been. That's become one of their trademarks is all the penalties and the undisciplined play.
Steven Montez, with overall a good performance. He did miss some throws here and there. Mm-hmm. It did seem after he got knocked out of the game briefly that a little bit of his rhythm seemed to get his momentum in this game got taken away at that point.
Yeah, I thought so. I thought more than anything USC's defense rose up and played a little bit better. And Montez said that they kind of played a little more zone down the stretch, and that kind of helped them defensively. But yeah, I don't put much of this on Montez. I mean, the kid's been through a tough couple weeks. I mean, it's the worst two-game stretch of his career, and for him to come back and play like he did, 3 touchdown passes, 1 touchdown run, only the 4th time in his career he's done that. He led this team, to a chance at an upset win. Didn't get it done, but I think it's the 6th time in his career now that he's led his team to 30-plus points and they've lost a game, and that's tough.
In credit to him, he's always been a stand-up guy with us, the media. Again, he goes in the post-game press conference, handles some tough questions. Mm-hmm. You asked him about the criticism he's received, and he didn't back down from that. Yeah,
he said, hey, look, I signed up for that when I decided to play quarterback. That's what comes with the territory. I believe him. I know he's said that to me before. He's human, though, and I imagine some of that bothered him. And I think he's the type that gets fueled by that more than lets it get to him. And I think that's part of why we saw that performance this week, or tonight. But yeah, I give him credit. He did say, hey, look, that comes with the territory. And somebody asked to follow up. There's probably going to be more criticism with that last play, and he said that's fine. That's part of this position. He doesn't back down from that, and I know there's Montez haters out there. There's people that really back him. The bottom line is, I think Montez showed tonight he gives you the best chance to win down the stretch, and the Buffs aren't going away from him. He's their quarterback through the end of this season. He's a pretty good quarterback. He gives them the best chance to win, and if he plays like that, they've got a chance to win.
Laviska Shenault targeted more tonight than at any point this season. 172 receiving yards. That 71-yard touchdown had to feel really good for somebody that's had a really frustrating season due to injury and other teams really keying in on him.
No question. And I wrote something about that tonight. Not only him, but K.D. Nixon. I know only 3 catches, 30 yards. Doesn't look great, but 2 touchdowns for him. And he's only been in the end zone 1 time this year. And it's been a frustrating few weeks for him. 4 catches the previous 3 games combined. So for him to get in the end zone twice, I thought this was only the second time. This is hard to believe. Only the second time that those 2 friends have scored in the same game.
Really?
The only other time was at the CSU opener in 2018 when everybody scored that night. So, so I think for those 2 guys, it had to feel good there. But the trend continues, Adam. That you look at almost every one of Laviska Shenault's big games this year. He hasn't had huge ones, but his best games are all losses. The Buffs have not found a way to capitalize on his big games. He's had 200-yard games now, both on this field against Air Force and tonight against USC, and they lose those games.
Over 400 yards passing for the Trojans, but KJ Trujillo is starting to come into his own. Had an interception, some other key plays. Kind of interesting. USC offered him a scholarship 2 days before the early signing period. He turned that down to come here for an opportunity, and he's gotten that opportunity. And I think he's going to be quite a player. He's got to put some meat on his bones because you see him miss a few tackles tonight. But I think he's going to be quite a good player for this team.
I agree with you, and he's one that he had a tough game in Pullman last week. I mean, he was targeted a lot, and they caught passes on him a lot, and he gave up a few tonight. That's going to happen with a true freshman, but you're right. I mean, the plays like the interception, the sack that he made another pass breakup, a few other pass breakups. He made plays tonight that makes you think, wow, that kid, he's going to be good. I mean, he's only a true freshman, so I can't wait to see him in 2021, 2022 when he's a veteran player, maybe even 2020. You expect him to be better then.
Yeah. They're now 0-13 or 0-14 against USC, and this is now the 13th straight game they've given up 30 or more points as a defense. There are 4 games left. They need to win 3 of them to go to a bowl game. No one expects them to do that. Right. So, if you're CU, if you're Mel Tucker, if you're the players, you still hold on to any hope and you try to do what you can. I think if I'm a CU fan at this point, I'm just going to try to see improvement out of this team and kind of set my expectations that, yet again, they will not be going to a bowl game.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I don't like to say bowl game. With this team, I don't like to say bowl game until they're at 5 and there's actually time to play. But I do think there's a scenario out there where they can get 3. I mean, USC and Stanford are beatable.
UCLA
and Stanford are beatable, and then Washington comes here, and Washington's been up and down, and I'm not expecting the Buffs to win 3 football games, but there's 3 winnable football games out there. If this team plays like this, and maybe even just a tick better, they can win 3 football games, but the bottom line is, you're right. I mean, we got to stop expecting a bowl at this point and just say, just get better. Play well down the stretch. If you get 3 wins, great, but just play well and get better.
Well, before they run us over here, we better sign off. Some positive things to take away from this game, but gosh, a tough loss for the CU Buffs.